minutes too early.
It's all right. I'll go longer. Why is this the first one? Yeah, I mean, I
I'm
got
not
some
sure.
slides.
I could see firefox over here. I
That's
don't.
okay. It
No,
doesn't matter.
no, no. Everything's great. Yeah, but there's
I got it.
yeah, but there's a guy that doesn't sign for 25
Check.
minutes. And
Yeah, we can start.
there's one guy
I got
that
plenty of time.
this morning. I'm asking him to be efficient time, so he's actually asking me to
I
just look at him. But if you're following me, you probably would ask to switch because people like breaks. Okay, let's begin with the second phase. I hope the first part was really interesting. So we'll have a little demonstration what the next phase could be and what can you do with the information. Let's welcome Chris Nickerson.
Is it like still really hot, or am I just still drunk? The guess is both. That's good. Hi, I'm Chris. If you fall asleep, that's cool. I'll throw something. I have a ton of stuff to throw. We're going to talk about stuff affectionately known as Chris would call it, breaking into shit. See, yay, breaking into shit. No, I want to talk about the reality of security and not the hypothetical world of security where everybody's like, well, I could break into this. Well, then why didn't you? Well, I could someday. Someone could do. Good, show them. Like, don't continue this scale of telling everyone what could be done because they're not going to respond. It's the sky is falling mentality that's got us into the problem that we're in. You have all these testers going, the sky's falling, and the executives go, no, it's not. Look, there's nothing falling. Make it rain. Make it fall. I mean, show them exactly how horrible the world can be, and then they're like, I'm so happy you're on my side. And now we need to fix stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about, okay? Cool. I love myself. That's me. Whatever. I've done security stuff all over the place. I don't know how much else to say about it. I run a podcast that I rant and rave and swear at people the whole time, and we talk about security once in a while. Write articles. I've been doing it kind of everywhere from the military to being a formal suit and tie auditor to running assessment teams to having my own company to breaking into shit. All of those roles have taught me something unique and different that I wouldn't have learned any other way. But they all kind of make me have this kind of view on things because I've seen it in corporate environments. I've seen it in education. I've seen it in my own company. I've seen it in the military. I've seen it in every business space. The problem is the sky's falling and no one else can see it but you. So we're going to talk about how to show them. And how do you show them? By doing it. So back to what Jason said about some of the Sun Tzu training. Yeah, best hacker, most well-known hacker, period. Right? You study some of that work. You study battle tactics. Some of the great tacticians. I know we talked about in the cyber warfare speech, right? If you study military tacticians, you will learn some very interesting things about what your job is to do. And I think oftentimes we consider ourselves way too electronic and cool to go back to Moat Castle, grab a sword, go fight somebody. And that's kind of what we do for a living, but we got to really connect to that. Like, humans have known how to protect themselves for thousands of years. Why do we suck at it now? Because it's a computer? Bad excuse. It's a poor excuse. Right? These are very obvious things. How do these apply to your daily life attacking a company or being a security professional or fending off attackers or being an attacker? Right? If you can modify your tactics, well, yeah, if you don't modify them, you don't get in. If they don't modify them, they don't get in. If you're defending against a static, constant threat, it's easy to stop. If you're defending against a dynamic threat, it becomes very complex to stop. And that's what we're here to do, right? Is to not only stop the easy stuff, but stop complex things. So you have to get in that mindset of thinking. So what's red team testing? There's a whole bunch of words. You can read them. I don't even remember what it says. But at the end of the day, it's all about how do you know if you can put up a fight if you've never been in one? Or if you've never been hit before, how do you know? How do you know that your controls work? How do you know that your firewall does anything? I bought a firewall. What do you do with it? I let it sit in the rack and blink. And it does stuff. What does it do? It stops attacks. Really? Prove it. Attack it. Well, nah. I'll scan it, though. No, attack the thing. And if it doesn't work, pull it out of the rack because it's useless. Why are you spending money on that if it does nothing? So prove what these things that are in there to do. Right? You have a kiosk. Awesome. Beat the crap out of it. Piss him off. Make him stay up all night. This is the mentality that you have to try and get in. If you're going to have somebody that has no rules in a fight, then you have to have no rules in defense. So why? It goes beyond compliance. I know, right? Throw rocks at the crazy witch man. Compliance isn't security. It's not. Compliance only does one thing. Makes you comply. It's a great starter. I will never kill it for that. And I'll never have it go away because it gets people started to do something. But it's not the end of the line. It's not the be-all, end-all task. It's not I did PCI so I'm safe. That's the most ridiculous example. Anyone have an idea of the average card processing environment? How much of the enterprise it is? Usually 2 to 5%. Yeah, I'm compliant 2 to 5%. I'm 100% of my 2%. So my whole company now is compliant and we're safe. Stupid. That's like saying I locked up my bread so you can't break into my house. It's silly, right? Why do we also do it? Simulates real attacks. Hackers don't have scopes? Good. You're a tester. You're trying to simulate being an attacker? Be an attacker. You don't have a scope anymore. Why? Because attackers don't. That's what you want me to do, right? You want to see if a bad guy can get in? I'm going to be a bad guy. And I'm going to do it well. I'm going to look at all the intel. I'm going to take my time. This is not a race. Race to shell means you're not doing your job right. It's all about elegance. It's all about being complete. It's about doing it in a standard process and getting achievable and trendable results consistently and being dynamic at the same time. It's possible, right? It's possible to have a process that moves all over the place and still get consistent results. Because that's the problem that management always says. Oh, well, if you do it however you want, you can't be consistent. You're wrong. Attackers are consistent. They consistently win. Okay? 1% of your assets we talked about. And at the end of it, you never know the value of anything in your life as much as you do when you do not have it anymore. Be it that a significant other, a family member, the $50 that you thought you had in your wallet when you went out drinking, and then you didn't in the morning. Don't worry, you didn't lose it, you just got drunk. But these are the things that all of a sudden I'm concerned, I don't have it. I go into my server room, there's no servers. This is a big concern for me. I had servers here yesterday, right? You think somebody's going to react and change the lock on the door when they go into the data center and there's no servers? Answer, yes. Okay. Why is traditional testing dead? Because it does nothing. I mean, it really does. It doesn't do much for you. All it does is say, okay, that's like saying, all right, Chris, I want to fight you on a Wednesday in March after I've trained for like 8 months, but you can't do anything, and you have to have this leg tied to this arm, and you're not allowed to hit me. So I figure that'll test my fighting ability. Silly, right? And that's what companies do. They go, oh, we're doing security testing, and they're placating everyone else and selling themselves a lie that they can withstand an attack. Huh? Yeah, absolutely right. He said you're getting really good at catching the average tester, which the average tester, first off, probably doesn't have the skill to break in and really steal something and mess you up, and second off, isn't going to lose a job over it, so you're defending against nothing. Testing replicates the attack. The perimeter is dead. Do people agree or don't agree with this? I would like to see hands of people who agree there is no perimeter. Okay, people who said there's a perimeter. People who don't give a shit. Nice. All right, the give a shits and the no perimeter win. But so here's the thing, right? You watched Chris talk? Yeah. You see all of this data leakage and all of this sensitive information? Wait a second, that's supposed to stay behind your perimeter. That's yours. Where'd the perimeter go? Oh, I have an attacker and they're on the inside of my network. Where's my perimeter? It's gone. My firewall protects my perimeter. Well, yeah, sure, until I walk in the building. And then your firewall keeps the bad guys away from attacking my laptop while I'm attacking you. Thank you. It's nice. You know, it's like robbing a bank, being cold, and getting a coat. Anyway. So this is really just the kind of beginning of things that are coming, right? Like you see these types of attacks all the time, and you use some type of cool technology word so that the sales guys can sell you some new box. Yeah? You guys have people sell stuff to you? Does it work? Sorry. Yeah, I mean, do you know if it works? So obviously you can see all of these different types of attacks shifting more towards the real world, right? If I want to attack a human, I don't attack the network that the human is in, I attack the human. The rip-off slide. Chris had put this on one of his decks, and I think it's wildly important. So look at all of these things. How many of these things are actually attacking these kind of perimeter level items? Right? Because that's what you attack, right? You know, I scanned the outside, I scanned your addresses, I'm attacking you over the network, I clicked DB Autopwn on Metasploit and went to bed or had a beer. Not very many of these things anymore that really hurt people are directed attacks. They're focused attacks. They're shotgun blasts instead of just, throwing something out into the ocean. Yeah, no more intro stuff. We'll talk about breaking into shit. So, 1, you have to have style. These are different styles of attack. You have to decide, is it an external directed attack, right? Am I going to directly attack you from the outside? Am I going to do it indirect, right? Am I going to have this idea of I'm going to just loft a whole bunch of stuff over your firewall and hope that your spam filter doesn't get it and, hope that Stefan's products don't, wipe you out after doing all sorts of cool shit that he's researched and get an exploit through? Am I going to do it internally, right? Am I going to go do key drops in your parking lot? Or am I going to, break into your office building and do key drops at your coffee pot because it's funnier and people will pick them up easier, or in the bathroom, right? Am I going to actually go after the people themselves? You know how awesome it is to look up somebody's Facebook or Twitter account and find out what bar they're at and hang out with them for a couple hours? Dude, best friends. You just get to hang out together, and the next day you roll into their bank and they're like, I know you. And you're like, yeah, let me see what the behind the counter's like. And you will. They'll just let you do whatever. Go around lunchtime. You'll probably go to lunch with them and come in through the back door with them, and then ask to go to the bathroom. Drop off a wireless access point. Yay, you owned their whole company. What did it cost you? A couple drinks. Exotic attacks, right? This is where you can get into the weird esoteric realm of really attacking people. You want to freak a bank out? Cause a flash mob. Watch the type of crazy thing that happens in a bank when you have 400 people walk in at the same time. Is it a denial of service? Is it a security flaw? Does their firewall stop it? No. Should they be concerned about it? Hell yes. Does this make sense? Style? Yes? Cool. Process. There are 2 steps. Just like Chris had on his slide. That's cool. You could steal my shit, baby. It's a mutual. But this is the process. Find something that they think is important, like their cool servers and databases, and then steal it. Like literally steal it. That's a test, right? You took that. Attacker can take this. Really? How do you know? Look at the pictures. I'm pulling your Dell servers out of the rack. And they're like, damn, that's not good. Is there a patch for that? Yeah, it's called a lock. It's not $400,000. No, it's 10. Thanks. You just exponentially improved my security program with $10. Show me ROI. Yeah, I'll talk about it all day long to the executives. I can find you more return on investment with one of these tests than you will ever find with any type of test, period. Because I can prove what the value loss is, because I did it. The method. Again, it's not just a willy-nilly go break into shit and steal whatever. It's about being methodical and being able to produce consistent results. Ideas, gather intelligence. The most important part of any test, I know Chris said it, I'm going to just do talks from now on pieces of these because I think like exploitation's kind of exhausted. Like it's great, there's new tech all the time, but when you exploit stuff, all right, now what? How did I get to that point? How long did it take me to get to the point? Was I covert? Did I already get caught? So you got to really scan for vulnerabilities and have the right intelligence. And I don't just mean run Nessus. I mean, oh, I see that this person is connected to this person, and this person over here let me become part of their little friend triangle without ever really proving who I was. That's a vulnerability. I know that you guys use this trash company. Another vulnerability. I know that I found that you use Open Office and you're running it in Linux, right? Nessus didn't tell you that. Right? You use that because you do solid intelligence. And once you can find those, then you can actually plan an attack that will work. And I say that because you will not get stopped. If you do the right intelligence gathering, you will never, ever, ever get stopped. If you get stopped, it is your fault for not doing enough intelligence gathering. So remember it next time. Exploitation. There's a million people that could teach you about that, and we could talk about it. I want to talk about digging for gold, right? This is what's important. When you show an executive, I got 15 pages worth of shells, they don't care. When you show a CFO that you've accessed their planning resources, you've accessed their general ledger, you've accessed their financials, you can change them actively, they excuse themselves, they go to the bathroom, they come back with new pants on, and they try and continue the conversation like a human being, but they can't, because they're freaking out. Shells, no change. Pants, change. Right? Reality. So how do we do this? You saw Chris, right? Do you guys get how those things are hugely important to really going after a company? That's the building blocks. If you don't do those, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're making your pen test 30 times harder. You're making anything, an audit, 30 times harder. I don't know how many times it's easy to go through some of those techniques when I'm doing an audit, just to find the right person to talk to in an application because the people inside the company don't even know who I should talk to. So I'll go through a couple other ones that I think Chris touched on. This is the stuff you need to find. Find it. If they're missing some, trust me, it's out there. Look harder. Don't just be like, well, I couldn't find any email addresses. Have you had ever in a test where you couldn't find an email address? Right. Anyone else who's done it? Have you ever been like, well, they don't have any email addresses on the internet? Then why are they on? Server addresses, websites, partners. I say local utilities and service companies because when you're on site, you want to have their clothing. Because then it's like a badge. Like if I know you use this trash service, or I know that telco in your area is provided by these people, it's pretty easy to find a thrift or find eBay or find someone who has one of those and give them €4 for the shirt and walk in like you own the place, because you do. So Gulag, we talked about that, ways to more passive. Same listings of more and more things. We talked about those. Just open your mind when you're thinking about these. Don't just look at it as IP addresses. That's information that you'll find quickly and easily. Go for the stuff that you're going to use while you're testing. If you need to take on a personality, find out how to be someone this way. Right? You want to be our president? You can see who and how they're connected. Use things like TouchGraph. TouchGraph works great for Facebook because you get that kind of Maltego view of interdependent relationships, and the bigger ones are the ones that talk to each other more. Social networks. There's all sorts of great stuff that you can find on social networks, and from those you can build those profiles. You can see how they fold back over into Facebook accounts and figure out where they're at and why they're at there. I mean, I did an exercise where I had it was kind of like I went in too soon. I didn't do good intel gathering. I know that, right? Bad, hypocrite. But I just figured I would go in anyway. So one of my engineers tailgated, went through the smoking section because the cop let him in because they were smoking together. Instant bond. And I just decided to go in through the front door, and he said, how? And I'm like, I'll figure it out, whatever. So I walked into the front door with a box of donuts. No, were they donuts or cookies? I think I had cookies. I had a box of like 4th of July looking cookies. And I figured it'd be fairly easy because in that area, there's this big, huge race going on. San Diego people know what race that is. This big, giant horse race that everyone in town goes to. It's a great time to break into a building. You know that most of the management is not there. So even if you get in trouble, they can't do anything to you. Okay, time to go. So I went in, and on my phone as I was walking up to the reception, politely ignoring the person asking me questions, because you can do that, by the way. You don't have to respond. I just searched on LinkedIn to find manager and the company name. I found it, and I said, yeah, I'm here to see so-and-so. She goes, hold on, let me see if she's at her desk. Click, click, click. She doesn't appear to be at her desk. Yes, I know that. She's in a meeting, and I was told to wait here for her. Okay, so I sit there, wait for her. About 5 minutes later, after I'm doing more of my intel gathering that I should have done, I'm sitting there, I look up, and I go, I just got another email. She's going to be about 30 minutes late. Is there a place around here that I can eat? Now, I did do some good intel gathering on the area, knowing that there was absolutely nowhere to eat. Anywhere. Close. Within about 10 miles. But they had a great cafeteria on the other side of the HID badged doors. So she said, well, honey, you can, there's a McDonald's about 10 minutes away. But why don't you, we have a good cafeteria. It's not cafeteria food. You can come in and eat here. All right, let's go. So I went in the cafeteria, and she just left me in there to eat. While my other engineer got up from the desk that he was hacking at, came over and picked me up like the person I was supposed to meet so that the security cameras knew that their process was if you were to sit in that room, you would need to be extracted by an employee. So he made it look like that. And then the people we sat down next to really enjoyed cookies. So we had a grand old time drinking milk, eating cookies, hacking their network, taking all their data, stealing servers. And they helped us. Like, we were walking out with boxes going, do you need help with that? No, I'm fine. I got you take the cookie box, I'm just going to take this. And we walked out after 4 hours. During that 4 hours, we did a USB key drop. During the USB key drop, as we were doing that, oh, by the way, it got reported that someone had done a USB key drop and they were looking for people on site. That's good. We stayed another 2 hours and hacked. Who were they looking for? I don't know. Gathering intel. Perimeter assessments. Right? You need to find out what you're breaking into. If you don't know what it looks like, it's hard to break in. Tool bag. Have all of this stuff on you. If you don't have it, buy it. If you can't buy it, buy it. It's out there. Get it to yourself. You need it all. I'm waiting for like the Snickers for blow-up doll and things like that. What? Do you know why you have a blow-up doll? Anyone? Boredom. Ding. You win a pen. No, the blow-up doll is really great. Blow-up doll and helium, as well as mylar balloons, to slip underneath doors, so that when a door is locked on one side, you can break the infrared that comes down on the other side of the door to allow it to emergency exit open. It's great. You just put a little blow-up doll. Mary's little face is like looking at you in the door, and you kind of wave, and the door opens. It's great for the client video. They love that part. They're all, look at her little head. Do you still have that? No, dude. Not part of the test. Smokes speaks for itself. Lighters, phones. Phones are great. Phones like the ultimate tapping device because you expect people to leave their phone by accident these days. Sure. So you leave the phone on the table, on, and you use your Google Voice to listen to everything that's going on in the room, and you've got like an hour and a half of battery life. So guess who gets to hear what's going on in the next meeting when you drop your phone underneath the table? You do. What kind of great intel does that provide? I don't know, audio you can play to their executives who are in that room who go, wait a second, you bugged the room? No, I left my cell phone there. Then how do you have the audio? Well, I left my cell phone there. And then every time they see a cell phone somewhere after that, you see them like, and they're like, that's mine. I just went to the bathroom. No, shouldn't have left your cell phone. But you change their perception of security. See how that changes them? See how it makes them do something? You expose them to it personally. That's our idea. Costumes. We talked about that. Great. When you're doing your intel, figure out what companies work for them. Build yourself a costume shed. Jess can tell you that I have these things laying all over our house. I have boxes of different areas of the world and different parts of the states with different companies in it. And I bring them with me because I know I'm going to Texas, so I need a Texas Gas and Energy meter reader shirt. Because what am I doing? Why are you poking around the outside of our building? I'm like, pfft. And they leave you alone. Offense is a good defense sometimes. You're like, what are you doing? Gas bill is more. Right? Makes sense? Easy. All this stuff is one of those like easy, like, yeah, duh, I know, but you didn't do it, so, geez. Right? Do it. Get this stuff. Right? I don't speak your language. You can do that all over. Works great. Put on the costume and just be like, me, phone, you, passwords, money, like, it works. Trust me, everywhere, all over. There's nowhere it doesn't work. Remote observation. I was just the best man at my best friend's wedding, and he gave me that little spiky robot, which is a Wi-Fi controllable over the internet spy robot. Coolest toy ever. It moves around, it charges itself. You can just put it in someone's cube and make it look like, oh, the nerd has a robot. And then let that thing light up at night and go cruise around the facility and like take pictures of stuff. That's awesome, right? And you get a cool toy. Testing. All right, GSM bugs. They're really small. You can hide them everywhere. Use it. It doesn't cost a lot. Get some audio clips in the CEO's office. Again, another person leaves the room, change the pants, come back in. Yes, we'll secure our network. Right? Because you showed them them. You didn't show them some black little box with text in it that they don't care about. You showed them their company, their life, their profitability. That's awesome. That power strip has video, microphones, all sorts of other cool stuff built into it. Wi-Fi. Yeah. Hide your gear, but do it in something cool, like a power strip. Those are plugs that actually have computers, Linux boxes in them. Yeah, it takes like 2 minutes to install. Inline power. You know what the cool part is you can take that and also plug power over Ethernet, or Ethernet over power behind it, and then go outside, get a white van, and sit and just steal all their data from jacking into the power. Off-site. And you got a Linux box to control, so you can do all sorts of great fun Metasploit and whatever dev you want to do, and hang things out there and dump everything to the CF card or backhaul it back over your, power lines. It's cool, but this is how real people attack. They don't go, yeah, okay, cool, I'm only going to hit that address because this one's vulnerable, but I know you don't want me to attack it. That's not an attack, right? They don't do that. Remote key copying. You guys heard about this? Right? You can take pictures, you can analyze the keys, you can analyze the depth, and start to make keys remotely. Get a camera, take some pictures of keys, be like, hey, I don't need to worry about this, I have a key. And then it works even better when you're in your janitor costume, because then you could be like, I'm in my janitor costume, I pull out my keys, I open the door, who's going to question me? Then you can lock people out of other stuff and be like, no, I'm sorry, you can't go in there, it's restricted. See ya. Badge cloning. You guys talked about this. You did some workshops on it that I heard were awesome. Do it. Dumpster diving. Those people are sweet. Pulling trash hazies out of the trash. It's really useful. Don't be scared to swim in the trash. You're only dirty. That's it. I mean, yeah, sure, there may be all sorts of really weird things in there, but it's a great story at the end of the test, and it's a good way to make your client feel kind of like bad for you. Like, hey, you broke into my network and you stole my entire business. I hate you. You're like, yeah, well, I waited in trash this high for 7 hours, and they're like, I'm sorry. That sucks. They feel a little bad. Parking lot shopping. That's a cool picture, huh? Think we can get into that building? Let's see. There's the badge. I wonder what's in their trunk. You can build trunk code rollers. You can find plans. I'm not going to put it up there because people are going to be just like popping trunks all over the place and it becomes a big party. But because everybody has liquor in their trunks at some point. But you can get trunk code rollers. So not only are you shopping through trunks, you're shopping through cars and everything else, and it's amazing to find the sensitive data that people keep in their cars. Do you guys ever keep anything sensitive in your car? Yeah, don't lie. I do. Whenever you break into my car. That's why I usually have my dogs there. So at least there's a mitigating factor. It's amazing you could find in a car. iPhones. They're really great. They connect to networks. You can plug them into stuff. You can run Metasploit on them. You can have them act as wireless access points. You can do all sorts of really, it's another miniaturized, cool little computer. I like the wall plugs better, but hey, if you want to find a reason to expense an iPhone, there you go. Gotcha. Cell phone bugging. Anyone done this? There's all sorts of really cool loads for cell phones. That you can actually go, and you don't need much time at all. All you need to do is redirect them to one link in about 1 minute or less. The load will go onto the phone. You'll be able to do everything from listen to their calls, proxy calls, break into a call, like in the middle of one of their meetings, be like, I don't think so, guys. We're not selling that. No, who is this? Click. No one. You can read all their SMS, you can read all their email, you can save it so it batches it at night and rolls it all back up so that when the person's sleeping, it'll turn the phone back on, send you the stuff with no lights on the phone, and then turn back off. Really cool stuff. There's a lot of packages. This one's FlexiSpy. There's tons and tons of other ones. So if you want to know more about that, we can talk about bugging cell phones. But don't do it to like your significant other or something, because that's just lame. Cell phone tracking. So not only can you take cell phones and enter some of the GPS properties of the cell phone and chuck it in somebody's car, like that open one that was the executive's car in the executive's parking lot with the executive's face on his badge in front of his company. You can also throw a cell phone in there under his seat and find out where he goes all day long. Watch how much they freak out when you're doing a test and you show them a pattern of where in the city they drove. They're like, yeah, that doesn't need to be in the report, but I'd like that. Like, nah, I don't know. This is some open GPS tracker. Have you guys ever seen that? It's a site to build your own GPS tracker units. You don't have to have the display. You can make it very miniaturized. We have them down to about that size by now. Actually, we have some that are a little smaller, but they just don't work very well. But GPS tracking software again. So now we can track the movement of the people that we're marking. Scanning for the vulnerabilities in those areas. There's tons of vulnerabilities of places that we just talked about just by some of those things that we've collected already, right? I mean, we've effectively broken it. I mean, think about in your mind the places that you've walked through the last 5 days. How many of those places you would have broken into if you had done just about any of those things, right? Or at the very least, you would have shaken that company so hard that they would have reread the Bible of security and started praising. So here's what we're looking for. Stuff to copy, stuff that's out there, free sensitive data, right? All the metadata that's in some of those docs, or even the docs that have passwords in them. Wikis are great for that, right? They're like, we have a portal, we open it to the internet, we keep all of our info on the wiki. If you search for a password, you get the passwords to everything in our company because it's convenient for me to steal stuff. All this makes sense, yeah? Am I going too fast? Am I annoying? No? Okay. Planning. So you need a time. You need a character. Characters based on your style. If you're using all the styles, great. You get to play multiple characters. Don't take your lithium that day. Go crazy. Right? You need to have everything, the tools for the job. It's about the tools for the job because you need to be flexible. If you have to go from one character to another character, you need to be prepared to do that immediately. And I'm not just talking about, oh, I take this shirt off and I put another shirt on. When you become another character, you become another character. You aren't you anymore. That's gone. You don't lie. Lying's for script kiddies. Right? You become something else. Because if you become something else, then no one is going to know that you're lying because you're not. You're something else. You find out what you need. You memorize the data in order to validate those particular things. You figure out an exit strategy. Then you figure out your plan B, C, D, E, F. You go through your alphabet, the Cyrillic alphabet, another alphabet. You figure out you figure out any possible way that if I'm going to get caught, I get out of. Get out of jail free? Absolutely. You have to have it as your last offense. Because your last offense should be a fake get out of jail free letter. Because how do you know if they verify that? Test them. So getting there, you should probably figure out how to get there, and covert security car is probably not the way. Yes? Sometimes that is the way. Sometimes just straight up making a mockery of the process is the best way in. You're like, I'm here to break into your building, and they're like, come on, let's go. And they're like, yeah. Hey, I saw you on TV. Yes, you did. I'm doing an assessment. Okay. See you later. You guys have copy stations? Anywhere where you do work? Where they can make copies, send faxes, do those things? Yes? No? Yes. Cool. They are awesome places where sensitive data lives that you need to investigate. Anywhere near where the office or location or business is located, anywhere around that, you need to look on the maps and see what type of business service companies are there, and go there and say, hi, I'm so-and-so from my Vista printed business card that looks just like the people I'm breaking into. I'm from here. I left a document on the machine yesterday. Oh, no problem. It's in there somewhere. And you search through it and find sensitive data. It's great. Do you have any idea how much cool stuff I have found in one of these places? Credit cards, passwords, people's personal mails that got printed out, HR complaints. I mean, it's amazing, the stuff that you find. It's Disney World, right? It's this happy, wonderful place that you can do all sorts of things. You can make yourself a fake badge. You can make fake IDs. You can color print stuff. You can use Photoshop. You can steal sensitive data. I mean, it's the playland of the world. And people just ignore these things. Right? What a great time. I get to falsify 6 or 7 identities. I get to steal a bunch of sensitive data. I have all the tools around me to do it efficiently, and somebody to help if something messes up. Badge forgery? Yeah, please don't put high-res pictures of your badge online, because I'm going to print it and use it, because that's weak. But not only when you're copying it and you're at the copy center, make it look real. Back to your intel gathering, make sure you're making it look real. Don't just do some wanky test. Spend all of the time that you can to make it as close as you can to a real attacker. Because they're paying you, or you're trying to simulate a real attacker, and a real attacker's not going to cut corners because they don't want to go to jail. Just because you don't have to go to jail doesn't mean you can be cheap and do things half-ass. Execute. Do not kill your clients. Phishing. Right? Make it relevant when you're doing phishing. Make sure it's coming from the right place. If you're using a phishing site, steal their site, like Chris was saying with wget, take their site, mock it up, make it look exactly like their site, and give them a real reason to be there. When you're searching for emails that they've put out before, copy and paste one of their emails, use it as a template, get an idea of how they message as a company, and do it exactly that way. Client-side attacks, same thing. If you're going to attack them with Adobe, make sure that they use Adobe. If you're going to attack them with Word, make sure that they have versions of Word that you can attack. Don't be sending open office to your client when they don't use it. That's silly. That will get you caught. And as an attacker, if you're acting in an attacker mindset, you won't cut those corners because you don't want to get caught, because in your attacker mindset, you don't want to go to jail, which is failing the project and not getting in. Got it? Am I wrong so far, or no? Is it okay? That's events? All right. You can call, right? You can call them and get information. You can use some of the intel that you had to use things like Spoof Card and Bluff My Call, Spoof App, and all those things that work on your phones. Spoof works on all the OSs, Windows, Nokia, Symbian, and BlackBerry. Bluff My Call works on BlackBerry and Symbian. They're great. You just take a number of someone that they talk to on Facebook all the time, and you call them from that number and give them some type of damsel in distress speech, or you say, oh, I got your number from so-and-so, and I'm calling from their phone because I need you to let me into this place because I also work there, and I just ran into them at a pub, and wow, is that funny, and I forgot my badge. And I know that, they're your friend, and oh no, they're, hitting on a guy right now. USB keys. These are great ways to get in. These are great ways to root and take things. Whether you're rooting a kiosk with the iCAD USBs, whether you're rooting things using Switchblade, whether you've made your own custom packages, whether you're just trying to put something on the machine to beacon back, or whether you have OSs on it so that the computers that you go by, you don't have to take a laptop with you. You just have your OS and start hacking from there. Travel light, Travel as light as you can. Because if you ditch your backpack somewhere and just run around with a USB key, you still can hack everything that you want as long as you have the right loads built. Because everywhere you break into has a ton of computers for you to hack from. And it's not hard to get into them. You can do it in person. I mean, you can break into people. You break into their head. You can extract information from them just like you would a company or a network. You can use all sorts of great techniques, right? It's an engineering method. It's a technology. It's not just playing with somebody. There's science, right? I can make you do things. We've had talks before where we've raised the temperature in the room from 60 to 104 degrees in 3 minutes. How? Just get everybody breathing together and breathe in a certain pattern, and you will see people's body heat expand like you've never have before. Try doing that with somebody that you're talking to. You instantly build rapport with them because your body sees that their body is the same. You don't even have to talk. I don't even have to speak the same language as you, and we'll be friends after a minute or so of just doing enough mirroring and rapport building. Touch is very powerful. When you give somebody a handshake, you feel all sorts of neat things, which means you can use that offensively to make them feel all sorts of neat things that they may not need to feel. Right? The security guard who asks you for your badge, and you kind of give them the old buddy slap on the shoulder and make a joke, and they just let you through. That touch was part of that. How you executed it is part of it. So be aware of some of these things, whether it's taking a temperature of somebody, knowing that I need to figure out where in this room, because there's 4 doors in front of me, which way should I walk? Well, there's a lot of people in front of me, so I need to be able to be really quick at slicing everyone and understanding who are the most likely people in this room to let me walk by them without asking me a question. How do you know that? Ekman does a bunch of studies on it, right? Microexpression training. So you can look at someone's face and understand, are they going to ask me a question, or will they give me their password or not? They're there. You can pick them out instantly. And also look at history, right? The history of breaking into stuff, great. Break in like they did. You'll see things that are similar all over the place. And the more you read about it, and the more you get into the situations, the more those become your options. Because you know they work. A friend of mine made this for me today. Well, not for me, but for the list. And I thought it was hysterical. Use an engineering process. Like a pack of smokes. Because it's something that you can repeat. It's something that you can trend. It's something that's a viable threat. It's something that can be trained against. And it's something that you can test repeatedly. But it also is something that lets you in just about every time. Because people have the smoke, they're frustrated with work, and they're just like, bugger, go ahead, go, I don't care. And they just let you in. Learn some technical ways to get in. If a lock is stopping you, don't let it. Pick it. Use your inflatable doll. Not that way, like to open the door. Don't just be like, well, time for a break. Inflatable doll time. And then the most important part that makes this testing work, that makes it inspire results and makes companies change. And it's the thing that should make every test work and make them change, is finding stuff that's important. At this point, you know a lot about them. You've been all over the company. You know the people. You know their corporate culture. You know what they do. You know how they do it. You know what systems they run. You probably have all of their data on your laptop already. And if not, this is the time to go find it. So you can use techniques like, you know, our little doll or a coat hanger through the door, or how's that from the outside? You think I could put something through there? Pretty easy. You got to go for stuff that's good, right? You got to take those pictures that they go, wow, you were there and could have done something really bad. Username, user. Okay. That's good. The black one over here is their remote camera system. Those are really fun to either steal or just erase yourself from. You just feel like Batman at the end of the day when they're like, let's go look at the security tapes. Oh my God, he's not there. What did you do? I don't know. I hit a race. Crazy high tech. Look for the silly things, right? If the wall doesn't go through, if they have a drop ceiling, poke your head up in it. Figure out if you can hide in the ceiling, because if somebody's chasing you, it's a great place to hide. You can also get to other rooms that they have to go through doors that they may not have access to. But you do because you're in the ceiling. Or use it to place network taps. Make a tap inline in the network, put up a JSCR device, put up wireless, attack everyone in the network on the inside, act like you're going to stay there forever. Leave toys, leave presents everywhere. But hide them because you don't want your presents to get stolen because it sucks and it costs money. How to find stuff. Where do you look? Things that are comported, things that are open, things that are connecting, things that are sending data, right? Find out what's chatty on the network. It's probably important. Why? Because it's talking a lot. If not, it's somebody with a problem. Maybe you could just help them out and fix it real quick to clean up your traffic. Find NFS mounts. Find share drives. Look in their MyDocs folders. Look in their home directories. Anything that says finance, take it. Even if it's not important, they'll go, oh my God, a finance folder. How did you find that? I don't know. I just stumbled upon it. Right? Use search. Use Windows directories. Use cookies. Interact with how you know you would be in that office. Sit in the chair and go, I'm an employee of this company. What would I be doing today? And then attack everything that you would be doing. Because when you give this report at the end, when you show people this type of test at the end, it hits them at home because what you did is what everyone does all day long. And you're showing them all of those common things that they can be attacked by. Not the crazy, oh day, you're never ever going to attack this, so you need to spend $500,000 on some psycho perimeter device. No, you're saying these are the things that you can get wiped out with right now. Let's fix those first. So you want to use what you know, right? Think like the business, not like a hacker. You know what hackers are? Not the people who run the business. So if you get the stuff that you think is interesting, you're probably wrong, because if you get the things that the business is interested in, then you're going to get some results, right? You can see what they're interested in. You can see what they use and how they use it. Most of the time, people boast about it. We just deployed our new ERP system that cost us 15 million euro. Great. Time to attack that first. Why? Because you're proud of it. Why? Because you use it. And if I take that away from you, your business starts to be hurt by it. Those are all great things that we find on site like all the time. Hard drives are always good. It's great to find servers that are off. Servers that are off are like the gold mine of any data center. Because at one point it had something important on it, but now it's transitioned somewhere else and they absolutely didn't clean or wipe the data from it because it's still in the rack. And 3, you're not interrupting business. So you could just pull all those out, put them in your bag, and go home and have fun. The sexy way of finding things. Any of you guys used any of this for finding data? Okay? grep, yeah. Best way to find data, use regex strings. You want to find a credit card or a bank card or a PIN or a ID number, or you want to find financial data, or you want to find a certain type of document or find that? There's lots of solutions out there that are built specifically for finding and identifying data. That is what the gold is. Use the automated tools to your advantage. Make your computer heat up. Create a botnet on the inside that does nothing more than search for sensitive data. It won't take you long. Run around with your USB key and just plug it into stuff and make OSs all over the place. If they catch you, what are they going to do? You have a fake get out of jail free letter. They'll accept it. Just hang out longer. Spider's really cool. The people at Cornell made a regex search tool for connecting to SMB shares that remotely searches the SMB shares so you don't have to install anything on the box, which is pretty neat. Vericept and any of the DLP companies have on-box spidering utilities that have predefined heuristics for sensitive information. Demo copy, install it. The DLP solutions, PowerShell searches. Nessus even has plugins that you can regex and find. So you give it the authentication credentials once you're sitting there on the wire and you surf their plain text HTTP passwords that go to their portal, which is actually their Active Directory account. And then you just log in and search for things. grep in Windows. DB Data Finder is really cool for connecting databases and actually searching for certain data. But all of this stuff can be automated. So don't spend a million hours on the inside sweating it going, oh, I hope I find something, and oh, I've not found anything yet, and even though I'm in the inside, I'm going to get caught. Great. Take a computer, throw it up in the ceiling, automate all the searches, walk out of the place, and come get it a couple days later. Log into it over the internet. Use Log Me In. You know, hey, I see my computer is online. I wonder what it found today. I went fast too. Hi, I'm done. I don't have much else to talk about. I mean, I do, but not on this topic. Hey, you have a question? Sweet.
I have a question.
Hello. Hello, Clarice.
So you're taking the servers and you get them out of the room. Do you have to camouflage your vehicle, or how do you get them away from the facility?
So I try not to take things that are going to interrupt business, right? If there are things that are off already or something like that, we'll physically remove them. If there are things that are possible, like in that one side, I'll leave them on, but like start pulling them out of the rack and show like, hey, look, me taking server, you know, and draw like the little squiggly lines to like show the me moving it out, or take a video of it and put that in the report. I've actually only had one time where I've taken a server and didn't have somebody from the company helping me bring them out, ever. Almost every time there is a helpful person in the company that will help you remove the servers, which is convenient. And then putting them in the car, van, truck, enterprise, whatever. People don't look at that. They're like, what's the big enterprise sticker? I'm like, ha ha ha, clunk, see you later. You know, and they like don't pick that up. Because at that point, you've kind of got them in such a mode of working together, and however it is that you're planning on manipulating their somatic stances and where they're acting communication-wise, that normally they'll help. But otherwise, you can just walk out. I mean, I was in a medical facility and walked out with, do you know what a Pyxis machine is? It's an automated machine for dispensing narcotics. Candy store. So, yeah, I mean, everything, all the painkillers, psychotics, all of that stuff, and it's this big, giant machine, and it has wheels. I just rolled it out, and they're like, what are you doing with that? Service. They're like, thank God, that thing's messed up. Yeah, it is. You know, and I'm like tipping it towards my like little, you know, Toyota that's like this big. And it's like the size of the car. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get this in there, but I'm going to try. But yeah, normally, to answer it directly, normally there is no need to do that unless you're playing a specific role, like I need to have a truck that is part of a phone company because I'm taking some of their telco equipment. You know, you can go to Vistaprint and print out those magnets that fit on the side and just slap one of those things on, put the jumpsuit on, and you're good to go.
Yes, just something to add. You can also use some shoulder serving in the train or in the airplane if someone logging in into his computer or to his network account. And the other one, if you look at eBay and look at the photos there, people are selling electronic stuff, and often there are some labels on it which are saying, okay, this is an ID of company X, Y, or Z. You buy it and you find some sensitive data like passwords on it or some network configuration. And the other thing is often some leasing companies who are taking back the machines from companies and sell them again. So often you'll find there some interesting data.
No, that's an awesome point. There's actually some software that's built for searching through eBay images for the heuristics of those things to automate that and make it easier. So you can actually go through and have it spider eBay for XYZ company name, and if that shows up in any of the pictures, it'll give you back all the auctions. But yeah, it's an awesome point. It's about using your resources and doing that intel gathering, right? Figuring out what the company is, who's in it, and what do they use, and using that as an attack mentality, not a what IP address do I have to go after.
Okay, I think those tests are mainly targeted for big companies, etc. But how the hell do you sell such security tests to companies? I mean, you have to get some strong agreements, some out-of-jail cards, etc. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't see such a market here in Belgium or in smaller countries where you have no big companies.
That's an awesome question. So how do you sell a pen test?
For example?
I mean, do you...
How do you tell the boss, hey, I'm going to do a test, I can probably put down some servers or steal stuff from you, but hey, no biggie.
Well, it's not, as much fun as I can make of it. Like I said, it's a method, and it's tactical, and it's built around a process, and it's something that you can show them empirical results. So it's not, hey, I'm going to go break into your shit, even though I'll say it like that. We want to do an effective test of controls to understand if the defenses that we have work. The only way that we can do so is by attacking resources. So we're going to show how resources get attacked. And through that, you're going to work them through all these different ideas of how their layers of defense get attacked, how their firewall gets attacked because we have directed styles on the outside, because how their email filtering works, how the on-box antivirus works, how the IDS works because we're sending client-side attacks, how phishing works, how the training has worked in their company, how tailgating works, if you can walk directly into the building or not. And these are questions that people want to have answered and believe that they have the answers, but have never tested to prove yes or no, is that control designed effectively? Right? In the auditor world, they go test of design, test of effectiveness. Red teaming is the test of effectiveness. It says everything that we spent money on, does it work? And will it protect us? Or do we not know? And so this connects them to knowing and getting an understanding of how to improve those initial controls. Does that help?
Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
My question is a bit related to the previous one. Are there major differences between the States and Europe in a mentality of like helping somebody carry out a machine or IDs? Like we have biometrics on our personal IDs, I assume, not now, but we have electronic ID cards, we have keys on our ID cards that encrypt data, that have a unique identifier. You can of course abuse it, but with a PIN code exchange, for example. But I don't think that in Belgium or Europe, probably depending on the region, it's easy to walk into a building and have somebody help carry out something without first verifying and clarifying paperwork, etc.
Go all the way back to almost there. Her. You know where that was? In Norway?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's Norwegian.
Right? Fine, be like that.
I mean, they populated the States, you know?
Alright, fair enough. I personally have not had it be different, even though I agree that there are some extreme cultural differences. At the end of the day, when you build rapport with someone, no matter what their color, creed, religion, or anything else is, people are people. And if you're friendly with someone and you have rapport built, they'll help you do anything. If you show that that's a reciprocal return with them. I do agree that I think it's harder here, and that you have to work a lot more with all those crazy technologies that I was talking about and do an SE. You absolutely have to do way more of that with someone here to pass their generic, what layman's term, right, their bullshit test. If you get around that, it's a lot harder to get around the bullshit test here than it is in the States because we're dumb. Whatever. Right? Thanks. But it works the same way. You just got to push a little bit more.
Hi. Here.
What's up?
I'm good. You. I was just wondering where even you would draw the line, because you're telling us pretty much that everything's allowed. So I think you can run into a shitload of problems with that. Let's say, for example, would you go through private emails of employees to search for interesting data? Is that allowed?
Is it on the company network? Because if it is, the company owns it, and the company hired me.
Sometimes it's a gray area, right? I mean, the thing is, if somebody's using his laptop in the company area, and then he's using it at home, and he has...
Should they be?
No, they shouldn't, of course. I mean, it
So we're
depends on
testing
what...
control by showing that exposure, right?
Depends on what the company allows,
Okay.
I think. So
the tests should be based on how the company operates, right? In part of how you conduct a test, you have to make sure that you're testing things that are relevant, right? If they go, I let people put sensitive data on Twitter, then I can't show them that in the report because they're like, I don't care. We're supposed to do that, right? I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but as an example.
But the thing is, you may not run into problems with the company itself, but with the employee, for example. So what if the employee sues you because he says, oh well, that's good for me or good for the company that you did the test, but you rummaged through my private data. That's not fair, and I'm going to sue you. Or the copy shop owner who says, oh well, it's fine that you have a get out of jail free card from the company, but I don't care. You rummaged through my stuff. I let you, okay, but now I'm going to sue you. Isn't that a problem for you?
Never. It doesn't hold up in court, number one. Number two, that data that was from the target company is owned by the target company and under the justification of our engagement.
Okay.
On the personal side, I mean, you got to do it with discretion. You can't be Mike Tyson just going around knocking everybody out, right? I mean, so it's like a pen test, right? You can't just go randomly hack stuff because you're like, oh, cool, look at this. 137's open, 139. I'm going to just beat the crap out of this thing. Oh, I don't own it. Whatever. You have to have some discretion. It has to be focused, right? It's not about a random test. It's not about doing tests in a manner that has loose flexibility. This is a flexible process that follows a methodology for specific results, which is things that are important to the data. And the reason I make that slide of find out what's important and steal it is because that person's data is not important. What's important is the company that I'm testing and how their brand or the confidentiality of their intellectual property and those types of things can be taken. And if that person is sending out confidential data and I happen to come across it in their personal network during my test, you will be sure my client knows about that because they need to go to jail. So I hear and understand, but when you start doing these types of tests, it's very clear what's in scope and not in scope. And when it's, Sally's pictures of, her sexting her new boyfriend while her husband's watching, well, if you look at that, that's your fault, not mine. Right? Okay. So you have to have that kind of personal discretion and focus solely on the task and stay in the process. Because if you go outside of it, yeah, you'll probably get all sorts of neat stuff from the attack, but you'll also offend that client relationship. But it's a perfect question.
So you draw the line, but you tell us just go for the gold, and that's where I'm with you. That's what I think is very important.
Absolutely, it's follow the process. Anything that leads me to the gold is what I need to be investigating in. Yeah. There's a million avenues, and if I take this go rummage through this dude's email, I'm just being ADD and I'm not paying attention to what I'm supposed to be doing, so I need to get back on the path and go for the sensitive stuff. He had one over here. Wait, you had one, then, yeah, I don't know. Or back. I don't know.
Just a short question, adding also to the question before. What if you're going to violate the law, for example, the Wiretap Act?
Don't.
You're not?
Don't break laws. It's bad.
Okay.
It's illegal.
That's the only question. So there's the line.
Absolutely. Do not break a law. Unless the lawmakers tell you that you can break it. He's just going to keep going around you. That's awesome.
Hey Chris, that was a good talk, and it's really good to see all your successes and all these wonderful things you've hacked and you've broken into. I wonder if you could enlighten all of us and share with us your biggest failure.
I think no, it's awesome, right? I think the biggest failures that we've had are not finding things that are important and going way too far back into like what we think is important, and the test is totally invalid. It's like useless.
I mean like security guards grabbing you.
I had my nose broken. Yeah. I showed somebody my fake letter and had an MP hit me with the end of AR. Just went whap, and it was like explosive face. And I was laying on the ground kind of coughing, and they dragged me back in, and his CO was screaming at him because I followed the red card procedure. He drew on me. I flicked over my red card. It fell down. He saw visibly that the red card was there, and he whooped my ass for fun. And then it was even funnier because I'm in like a full white shirt with suit pants and had the coat around me, and I'm just covered in blood. And the CO didn't really even care that my nose was broken or anything else. He was just busy yelling at this person. And then every once in a while, he'd kind of look over and be like, and go back to yelling at him, and then kind of cough and laugh and look at me again. And I'm just sitting there like this, going, oh, this sucks. Why did I do that? Because I got greedy. I was like trying to get in and behind some of their cameras. I had already gotten everything I needed, and then I was like removing cameras on the way out, showing how you can make, pathways. And they freak. It sucked. It hurt. I had oh dude, I was in a hospital, and I was inside, and I felt like I was in a movie, which is just hysterical. I was like inside the laundry bin, and I had somebody's heavily soiled, like the whole sheets were a different color, thrown on me, and I'm just like, oh God, I can't do it. And was just kind of softly crying to myself, thinking like, yeah, you can tell somebody that someday, and that'll be cool. Some bastard asked you where you failed. Yeah, that was freaking gross. Lots of weird, nasty shit. I mean, falling off of stuff. I fell through I've had a lot of failures. Wow, that's cool. But I've never really gotten caught, which is the fun part. I fell through. I was walking on a really small I-beam between two walls, and there was a drop ceiling. And as I was walking through, I was holding electrical conduit, and part of the brace for the electrical conduit pulled off, and I moved like this and lost my footing and fell through the ceiling on my back onto someone's desk. And it was this lady who was like 60-something years old, and she's just kicking the crap. And I'm just going, and her hitting me wasn't doing anything other than just continuing to not allow me to catch my breath. And I'm like rolling off the thing, and she's like throwing shit and like pushes her monitor at me. And I'm like, low crawling out of this thing, like must survive and not die at work. Those are some. I'm sure when I drink, I'll tell you the really bad ones. But they're all kind of in that vein of like me slapstick hurting myself, or like getting something poked in my eye and like setting off a radon system, or There's problems on the job sometimes. All right, you had one.
How you would sell your stuff to the government, because they don't have the money to lose, the companies have. What is the trigger for them?
Well, what do they have? I mean, what's important? The data, their plans, their top secret stuff.
Governments tend to have all kind of fuzzy stuff. Not for companies, it's the money.
Mm-hmm. It's about, again, it's back to that whole identify what's important and show them how to take it. If one of my favorite ones, what's his name? Richard Marenko, the head of SEAL Team 6 in the States. Wrote a book, Marciano. Yeah. He had a test where he said we could take over this base and we want to do a red team test. And they said, no, she just did it. And he captured and detained the head of the base, like the lead star at the base, and took over the base by himself. And once they lost that, they figured out it was really important. He got in a lot of trouble, but at the same time, they had an idea of what was important, right? So if the people are important, use some of the stuff that like Chris was talking about and profile them and show them, here, we're not going to really attack you. We're going to show you how someone would profile you to be attacked. Get their signatures, rasterize the signatures, show them how you can create false documentation, how you can create fake releases, how you can put them from one base to another, how you can send some of those forms and know what forms to send when and why and who they're going to come from. Materialize this whole on-paper attack and say, all I have to do is begin execution, and this person will go from here to here into my control, and you lose a critical asset. Right? So you can show things passively, just like as Chris was talking with the client-side attacks. You don't always have to give them exploits. Send them to a Google page and just track how many people hit the site. So a lot of these things you can still do creatively, but not execute an attack. You show them how the whole attack works, and then say, you don't want this to happen, right? Okay, well, there's a rule that no one gets to Twitter, and you can't just like randomly put these forms out in the net anymore, and you start to build that mentality into them. But sometimes you got to start soft. Yeah. Okay. What'd I do? All right. Uh-oh. He's all go away.
Now I've got a question about basically selling your pen tests. Is there a difference between multinational companies and smaller and medium businesses? Like most businesses in Belgium are small and medium businesses, where the chance that anyone knows everybody else is a lot larger than in a multinational company. How do you adjust to that, and does it make your work more difficult?
Makes it more fun. Do they know everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they know everyone that works in service companies for them? Bingo. There's our first target. Right? So the power, the IT support, the telco companies, there's a myriad about the trash, you name it. There's lots of things. Hell, offer them a new service. Be a salesperson. Those guys get in everywhere. Go sell them something that doesn't work. Hell, sell them a free assessment of an IDS platform box that you have, and go spray paint a box, whatever color the coolest new Gartner Magic Corner thing is, and sell it to them, and just make it a box with a bunch of hacking tools on it. And be like, it's free. I'm going to analyze your network. Give it a week, and I'll show you all those really awesome results. And here's the result. I hacked everything. There you go. Security assessment. But think in that way that you can kind of do anything from the regards of opening up that exercise. Don't window yourself to one venue. Think about all the different ways they interact. I think one of the biggest things I like about Chris's way of doing the intel gathering is understanding it's not just about the company. It's about who the company deals with, who's in those companies, who may cross-pollinate between those two, and you'll start to see these kind of vectors on the ephemera that are really juicy. Just use one of them. And if one doesn't work, use another one. If that one doesn't work, keep trying. Right? Send somebody else in. Do it over the phone. Do it over email. Do one over fax. There's 6 different ways that you can try 6 different types of personalities without people identifying you really once.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Stop ranting. Thanks, guys.